section 8.3 is going to be on synthetic division. Problem number 1 will look like this. It'll say use synthetic division to find the function values. Then check your work using a graphing calculator. We're just going to use this synthetic division. So the three things that we're going to find, this is to find out if these numbers are zeros or solutions to this function here, which means if I plug them in, will they give me a 0? So we're going to use synthetic division to find this out. So you'll notice the function is f of x equals x cubed minus 12x squared plus 47x minus 60. X cubed minus 12x squared plus 47x minus 60. And it wants me to first of all find f of 3. So the first thing we're going to do is when you have this function, when you're using synthetic division, you're going to pull out just the coefficients, which is the number part of this function. So in front of x cubed, we'll have a 1. In front of x squared, we'll have a negative 12. In front of x, we have 47. And then we have the negative 60. So here's my coefficients. So since the first thing we're finding is f of 3, what you're going to do is put the 3 out here. Now, let's see. The first step is to simply drop down this 1. Whatever this first number is right here, you drop it down. Then there's going to be this system that we use. We multiply 3 times that 1 and put your answer there. So 3 times 1 is 3. Then add these straight down. So now we have negative 12 plus 3, which is negative 9. And then start the same exact process over. So now we have 3 times negative 9. Put your answer here. So 3 times negative 9 is negative 27. Add straight down. 40 minus 27 gives me 20. And then do it again. 3 times 20, put your answer here. So 3 times 20 gives me 60. This time, when I add straight down, negative 60 and 60 gives me a 0. This last number here is your remainder. And if it is a 0, which this one is, that means that f of 3 is a solution or a 0 in this function. But when you put your answer in, you simply just put f of 3 ended up being 0. The second part, it wants me to find f of negative 4. So I'm going to do the same thing. It's the same function. It's just wanting to know if negative 4 is a 0 or what is this value when I plug in negative 4. So again, I'll bring down the coefficients, which are 1, negative 12, 47, and negative 60. And then plug them in. And then, again, I'm using negative 4 this time. So let's see. I'll drop down the 1. Again, you're always just dropping down this first number and then multiply here. Negative 4 times 1. Put your answer here. So negative 4 times 1 gives me negative 4. Add straight down. Negative 12 and negative 4 is negative 16. Same thing. Negative 4 times negative 16. Put your answer here, which is positive 64. So now I have 47 plus 64, which gives me 111. So now negative 4 times 111. Put your answer here. So negative 4 times 111 gives me negative 444. So when I add that straight down, negative 444 and negative 60 gives me negative 504. So negative 504 is just simply what you would put in for that f of negative 4. So negative 504. And then the last one, f of 5. So still on the same problem, so still the same coefficients. 1, negative 12, 47, and negative 60. So again, I'm finding F5. So I'll drop down the 1. 5 times 1 gives me 5. Negative 12 and 5 gives me negative 7. So when I multiply here, 5 times negative 7, it gives me negative 35. Add these straight down. So 47 and negative 35 gives me 12. 5 times 12 gives me positive 60. And when I add those straight down, I get a 0. So 0, again, would be the answer to that one. Now, number 2 is the same kind of problem. Use synthetic division to find the function value. So again, this time my function is f of x equals x to the 4th minus x cubed minus 13x squared plus 33x minus 27. So again, pull out the coefficients. That's all I need are the coefficients, which is the numbers in front. So the number in front of x to the 4th is a 1. The number in front of x to the 3rd is negative 1. The number in front of x squared is negative 13. The number in front of x is 33. And then the constant is negative 27. And we are finding f of negative 5. So negative 5 is what we're using out here. So just like the last problem, you'll drop down the first number. So I'm dropping down the 1 and then doing the multiplication. Negative 5 times 1. Put your answer here. So negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. Add straight down. Negative 1 and negative 5 is negative 6. Start all over. Negative 5 times negative 6 gives me 30. Negative 13 and 30 gives me 17. So again, I just added that straight down to get to 17. Negative 5 times 17 gives me, so again, just this negative 5 times 17 gives me negative 85. So when I add this negative 85 to 33, I get negative 52. And negative 5 times negative 52 gives me 260. And then negative 27, adding this straight down. Negative 27 and 260 gives me 233. So again, that last number right there is the solution. So, positive 233. All right, number 3. Use synthetic division to determine whether the numbers are zeros of the polynomial function. So here's our function, f of x equals 2x cubed plus 5x squared minus 8x plus 16. And then it wants us to check negative 4 and positive 3. And then choose which one of these answers goes with that. So it's a... it's only a 0 when that last number equals 0. So if this right here would have been asking if negative 5 was a 0 of this function, the answer would have been no. This would have had to have been a 0. So let's look at this one. So again, the function is 2x cubed plus 5x squared minus 8x plus 16. The first number we're going to check is negative 4. So once again, let's pull down our coefficients. So the number in front of x cubed is 2. The number in front of x squared is 5. The number in front of x is negative 8. And then drop down the 16. So the first number that we're checking is negative 4. So, just like the last problems, drop down this first number to give us something here to start multiplying by. So I'm dropping down the 2. Negative 4 times 2 gives me negative 8. So I'll put the negative 8 here. Bring this down. 5 and negative 8 is negative 3. And again, multiply. Negative 4 times negative 3 gives me positive 12. Negative 8 plus 12 gives me positive 4. And then the last one, negative 4 times positive 4 gives me negative 16. So when I add these down, that gives me 0, which means, yes, this negative 4 is a 0 or a solution to this function. So now it wants me to check positive 3. Same function, so I'm going to use these same 4 numbers. I have 2, 5, negative 8, and positive 16. I'll drop down to 2 and start the multiplication process. 3 times 2 gives me positive 6. Add these down. 5 and 6 gives me 11. So now I have 3 times 11 gives me positive 33. So now I have negative 8 plus 33, which gives me 25. So again, just adding these straight down gives me 25. Now I have 3 times 25, which gives me positive 75. So when I add these down, 16 plus 75, it gives me 91, which means, so there's the solution, which means no, 3 would not be a 0 because it didn't end up with a 0 here. So when we're choosing our multiple choice, negative 4 was a yes, 3 was a no. So the first problem says neither negative 4 nor 3 is a 0, so it's not that one because negative 4 is. The number negative 4 is a 0 of the polynomial function because f of negative 4 is 0. And the number 3 is not a 0 of the polynomial function because what did that one end up being? It ended up being 91. Okay? Now, I'm not going to work I'm not going to work number 4 because there's nothing new on it. Again, you're just checking negative 2 and 1 to see, by synthetic divisions, to see if they are zeros. Now, I am going to work number 5 since it does have a fraction. So let's see, number 5. The function is f of x equals x cubed plus 1/2 x squared plus 17 halves x minus 9 halves. Okay, so on this one, again, and this time it's wanting me to say whether or not 1/2 is a 0 of this function. So we're going to be performing synthetic division using 1/2. First of all, let's bring down our coefficients. So this one will be a 1. In front of x squared, we have a 1/2. In front of x, we have 17 halves. And then our constant is negative 9 halves. So if I'm using synthetic division with 1/2, all right, again, the first step is just to drop down this 1. So 1, and then perform my multiplication. So 1/2 times 1, it's not hard to multiply fractions when you have a 1, because anything times 1 is just itself. So 1/2 times 1 gives me 1/2. Then when I add these straight down, 1/2 and 1/2, so when I add those together, it gives me 2 halves, which is just 1. Multiply again. 1/2 times 1 gives me 1/2. When I add these together, 1/2 and 17 halves gives me 18 halves. And when you reduce, so 18 halves is what you get when you add these two together. Well, 18 halves is just the same thing as saying 9, right? Because 18 over 2 reduces to 9. So when I add 17 halves to 1 half, I get 9. Now I have 1 half times 9, which gives me positive 9 halves. So when I add these straight down, I've got negative 9 halves and positive 9 halves. So its remainder is a 0, which means it's asking if 1 half is a 0 of this function. Since this number ended up being a 0, it would be yes.